Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this program called Heart to Heart with Dr. SWARUP Datta. And today we have with us a wonderful personality, Mrs. SUCHITRA SHYJINTH. She is the principal of Pragati Academy, director of Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation. She serves as the General Secretary of Council of CBSE Schools, Kerala. She is the state coordinator for National Testing Agency, project coordinator of National Science Promotion Oriented Test, and a very reputed resource person of CBSE. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Datta.
So to start with, we would like to know something about your early life, your childhood, where you were born and how you grew up.
All right. I basically belong to Kochi, Ernakulam district in Kerala. In fact, the place name is called Perumbavoor. That's where my school is also. So that's where I grew up. Then I studied in Bangalore, and that's how my childhood was. Up to my 12th, up to my 8th standard, I was here. And after that, I studied in Ooty. And then after that in Bangalore. And that's how my education went. And post my studies, I came back and I was here for a while. Then I moved to Bombay, to Pune, then Bangalore, and then again I made the full circle and I came back.
All right, so you have been in 20 places. What exactly is your area of study that you, is it science, is it humanities?
My basic area of study had been science, and post that I moved into humanities. So
right.
Somewhere, we have a liking towards science, and that foundation is in science. But post that, it has been in humanities.
Can you say something about your family, your father, your mother?
Yes, my father, he passed away 14 years back. He also belongs to this place, Oli, Ernakulam. And my mom, she's an educationalist. She is a very active person now also in all the academic activities. I have 2 kids. My husband, he too works, in the education sector itself, and my 2 kids, one is in 10th and one is in 7th grade.
All right, wonderful. Now, when did you decide that you want to be an educator, and how that decision was, materialized?
Some decisions are not deliberate decision. It just happens, right? When you meet the right kind of people, when you're motivated by the right kind of people, that is when the right decisions happen to us. Sometimes we plan, many times we see that, nowadays our parents plan the future of their kids so meticulously that step 1, step 2, step 3, and then, they take them to that level. But in our case, maybe at that point of time, it was not a deliberate movement, but, we moved from area to area. And when we realized that, okay, this is going to be something where we can really work upon and make a lot of difference, I stuck on to that, primarily because, my mom started, she's a founder, director of the school. So that's how the concept of school came in. And somewhere the idea of being a teacher was there in my mind, like every child, if you ask a child in KG, definitely the child will tell you that, they either want to be a pilot or a teacher. These are the 2 areas. And some strange fellows will say that, I would want to be an auto driver also. We hear that also. Basically, my grandfather was a teacher. My great-grandfather, I would say. He started a school way back in 1930s or something, I believe. And my grandfather also was a principal of a school in my mom's hometown. And my grandmother also was a teacher. My mother was also a teacher. So somewhere, that was part probably that was within me, which came out when I met the right kind of people. Probably I would say I would like to mention the name of one, I would call him as my godfather or my mentor, one Sri Vishwanathapai, a very, very elderly person. He happened to be one of our senior principals in our school at that point of time. And he influenced me quite a lot. And he gave me a lot of ideas on, how to be right. How can you make some difference to the society? That's what he always used to say. And that's what inspired me to this. Maybe if I can make a difference, why not I start working in it. And I would call him as my godfather. And there are some people who make very positive, very strong influence. Positive influence many people make, but very strong lasting impacts he has definitely made, and probably transformed me to what I am today. He's also no more.
So, if you have to identify yourself with certain qualities, or if I say one quality, what would you identify yourself as? One particular quality that you think is, which defines you the most.
With lots of integrity. I would identify myself with integrity. I would identify myself with integrity.
Integrity. Okay, great. Now, when I'm talking about, your school, let me just understand, when did you start this school? Yeah, the connectivity seems to be a little bit low, but you're audible. The picture is stuck.
Am I audible, Dr. Datta?
Yeah, you're audible, but somewhat the connectivity is a problem, I think. So your picture is getting stuck at times. Are you there? Right. So what I wanted to understand is, when did you start the school?
I didn't start the school. My mother started the school. Our school is almost like 30 years old now.
30 years old, okay. And now when I visited your school, I remember your association with Dr. Kalam. So I would like to share a pic before we talk about him. Let me just go to the presentation. So these are a few pictures I wanted to share with the viewers. Yeah. Can you tell something about your association with Dr. Kalam, how it's happened, what you experienced? We're all eager to know that.
Yes. Dr. Kalam is always an inspiration for everybody. And I'm extremely delighted to share that, I had the rare opportunity to interact with this legend, I would say. I do not know why I was chosen to be, associated with him. I'm not sure about it, but I think there is a strong message he wanted me to carry forward through the activities what we are part of. My interaction started, the first time I met him was in 2005 when he was the president. He was 11th president. During his presidency, that was the first time I happened to meet Dr. Kalam. And, like everybody else, I too was very, very excited to be, be part of the interaction. And I was actually hosting the event on that particular day. In fact, the session was somewhere at 6 o'clock in the evening, but it so happened that, he reached slightly late due to the delay in the previous meeting. And we had around 50 or 60 selected students in that for that event. So the moment he came in, the first thing he asked was, I see a lot of children here. Did you feed them? Did you give anything to them? They have been waiting for me for quite a long time. That's the first thing he asked. So from that, we could realize the kind, the normal human instincts he had. From then on, all our interactions has been towards how to make a difference. Like how my Paiser used to say, Dr. Kalam also used to share with us thoughts on how we can make a difference to society. Don't ask what you can do to me, rather ask what can I do for you. If it's for the nation or if it's for the other individual, please find out what you can contribute to them. So that is the connect by which we started with Dr. Kalam. And from then on, it has been a long journey till his demise. we have been associated post that as part of the Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation, which started as a thought process which came in when Dr. Kalam, Dr. Rajan, Dr. Madhavan Nair, all of them visited NASA. And there they saw a lot of small young boys and girls, junior scientists they call them, and they were training them to make sure that they are actually getting mentored to get into the scientific fraternity of the nation. So and unfortunately in our country, children start thinking about science the moment they get into their post graduation level, or maybe when they do their honors. That is when they start getting into thinking of science, but there they start very early. So that is when the thought process of the Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation came in, and as a dream of Dr. Kalam, it was started in coaching by Dr. Madhavan Nair sir and Dr. Indra Rajan. That's how the initial thought process came in. We had a lot of projects were collectively. We met many a times, and every meeting was like 1,000 learnings for all of us. The kind of energy he used to transfer to all of us, it's like we tell that please walk out to the sun to get energy, go for a walk to get
Right.
abundance. The same way, you just look at this person and you are charged up for probably the next so many years. That's the way he transfers energy, and in a very humble and very subtle way, a very dynamic way, he has the power to transmit energy to the people around. So Dr. Kalam always is the inspiration, and his association probably has transferred the way I have started thinking about seeing the activities around. How can, like how I mentioned, how can we make a difference? That has been instilled, not only just in the academic front, he has inspired in multiple areas, like wherever he wanted the impact, he has made sure that, that is imprinted in all of us who has been associated with Dr. Kalam.
So what I understood, talking to you earlier, that you have been involved in a few projects with Dr. Kalam as well. One of that, if you mentioned, like each one teach one, right? So if you can highlight a little bit on that, what exactly was that about?
See, Dr. Kalam had a project called as PURA, that is providing urban facilities in rural areas. PURA, it's a nationwide project where, there is a huge divide between rural and urban divide we always talk about. It's a very glaring divide if you just look in. Until and unless we handhold and bring them up, definitely governmental agencies and organizations are there to make a difference. But to what level the difference happens is, it varies from region to region. So he had urged us, like, he had made us think that how can you make a difference in your region? That's how we came up with this project called Each One Teach One, the one you mentioned, where there are lots of fortunate students who are studying in your school, who are studying in my school. Like that, there are 25,000 CBSE schools in our country, and many more other, boards where children study, the privileged lot. There are so many of them who are not having the fortune of going into a proper school and, getting the right kind of learning. So our target out here through the Each One Teach One project was definitely we cannot reach to a large number. Maybe a small number we can target at our area. And that's how we started the project. And this project primarily is handheld or maybe taken care by the alumni of the school who has passed out, who has got into the in good professions, and who are able to spare some time, energy, and money for these people, these children who are economically challenged, who are marginalized in the society. So we try to find them out, and my children have started taking the project. Now we have pushed it to the other batches. We started it in 2008, and we pushed it to the other batches. Now around we could cater through the project around 357 students are currently taking the benefits of that, where these students cater to their education, not for anything else, for their educational requirements are catered, because we can the best thing what we can do is educate them so that they are self-reliant, they are empowered to take things forward. So that is this project about. Similarly, there are so many other projects also which has been mooted as a part of the PURA project under his initial guidance. One is My Tree, My Planet campaign. If you notice Dr. Kalam's activities, he would have definitely, he would administer an oath wherever he goes. If he's going to a corporate meeting, he would administer an oath to the corporates. If he goes to meeting the teachers, he would administer oath for the teachers. But end of every oath, there would be something like, okay, I will plant a tree, or I will take care of the nature. So he was very fond of, nurturing the the greenery, the planting of trees. But more importantly, he specified the importance. I can plant 100 trees, but how many can you take care? That is more important. So planting a sapling, anybody can do. You can just hire somebody and plant thousands of saplings, but how many can you nurture it so that, it comes to fruition? So we started this project, My Tree, My Planet, where the initial plan is to plant 1 million trees. And the project is on from 2008 onwards. Every World Environment Day, Nature Conservation Day, Forestry Day, we take the campaigns across schools, not only in Kerala, in other parts also. We have penetrated the campaign. And, I do not know how many trees have been nurtured as of now, but, we could get into lakhs of trees have been planted as part of the project, and it's an ongoing project. If anything can change, can make a difference to us today, it is only nature. It's only the greenery which can make a difference to us. Because all of us, you would have seen the past couple of months back, we all were not fighting for money. We were not fighting for job. We were fighting for oxygen. We were fighting for clean air, right? So definitely, if something has to change, it has to be the way we nurture the nature and show it to our children. If you and I would have seen something green, but what about the children who are growing up now? So if we have to make a difference, we have to show that, and that's what that campaign is about. Then we have another one called this Clean Village, Healthy India. That's basically to provide to give guidance on how we can have healthy facilities in the village areas, where the sanitation facilities can be upskilled, or can be increased. So this project actually, we had volunteers who would go to the areas which is not very tidy, and demonstrate to them how we can bring in clean practices. And it was started on a Gandhi Jayanti day, I believe. As part of Gandhi Jayanti celebrations, it started, and then we integrated it with the PURA project. Then another one program was the Energy Independent Project. Now we all talk about switch off the lights and do this and do that and save energy. But how much energy am I saving? I have no clue. So we started, this project was actually assisted by the Power Grid Corporation of India, and at that time Kerala State Electricity Board also. They collaborated with us to ensure that we get into some kind of energy audit. Every child was trained as to how we can do an audit and how we can ensure that we save energy. We save a little bit of energy from my end. So if I save, I take the pride that I save it. So next time I'm trying to save a little bit more. It may not be large, but when too many kids do that same task together, we were able to reduce quite a lot of units, which was actually wasted, which was not used for its right sake. If energy is used for its appropriate needs, it's fine, but not used in the appropriate sense, it is a waste, we can call it. So that was one project. Then
so how the children were trained? Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, there were these manuals which were provided to the kids, like the manuals were provided by the Energy Management Center itself. They call it as EMC, which comes under the Power Grid. They gave the methods as to you switch off the, we generally use the remote to switch off our TVs, right?
Right.
Till that red light will go on blinking. Actually, there is some amount of energy which is used there. So they gave a proper manual as to do this, you save this much. You do this, you save this much. Compare it with your previous electricity bill. So there is a kind of very glaring difference between the previous bill and when they did the small, minute things. It was not switching off for 1 hour, 2 hours. It was not done that way. Do that small bit, but that manual was provided to them. You do this much is going to be reduced in 12 hours. So that actually started giving the kids, I have to do just a small thing. If you tell the kids or anybody for that matter, you have to do too much, they will say, oh, I have to do too much, I won't even bother to start off. Whereas you tell the kids it's a very small thing, just like, it's a very small thing you have to do, they will say, okay, it's a small thing, so let me try it. So that thought process was used here also. It materialized quite well.
Is it still going on, or
It's still going on? Last year we did not take it up because we need the involvement of students for that. In
Right.
an online mode, how much can we challenge the kids also in the online mode? So last year it has not happened, but definitely this will be on. That's an ongoing project.
And this manual that you're talking about was provided by whom?
Energy Management Center.
All right. So in case the children who are watching this program, they want to access this manual, is it available somewhere?
So that can be reworked and given.
All right. Wonderful. Another project I would like to ask you about is, you talked about this PARIRAKSHA project.
Yes.
Something about that.
Yes. PARIRAKSHA is actually a project which is not connected with children, not connected with any of the other aspects. Basically, it is about providing, infrastructure facilities in the labor rooms of hospitals. Actually, that is one area where there is not much of focus. This project was just a one-time project. It's not an ongoing project because that required some amount of funding also. So basically that project was there to take care of enhance the infrastructure facilities of the labor rooms. Some of the labor rooms at that point of time, I do not know whether it is the same across the nation, but some of that was not in very, very good condition. It was in a very bad shape. So that time, this project was taken by Dr. Indra Rajan, and I was project coordinating for that. And basically, it provided infrastructure for the labor rooms. When a child is born, we want to give the very best for the child. What about the situation for the mother at a time when the child is born? So we provided all the infrastructure and made sure that the labor room and its premises was clean. So that created a kind of feeling of hygiene and all that. It was done in taluk hospitals with the association by the health department of the state. So we couldn't take it too many because there's a huge funding which was required. So that is one project which was done for the safety and sanitation of women. Nobody talks about it, No one will go out and say the situations it is like that out there. So that is where we thought of and tried.
And there are thousands of women dying every year because of the unhygienic condition of the labor rooms. I have worked in hospital myself, and I've seen what a miserable condition is there in those labor rooms. And the number of women dying because of sepsis and infection is pretty high. So that was a wonderful project.
Infection level becomes very high when the when there is no cleanliness around. No?
Right.
As you mentioned, it runs to thousands. It's not just few hundreds of women who to that, but many of them don't realize it is because of a situation like this also.
No, what I want to understand from here is, you are talking about save energy, reforming the labor rooms. These are, in a way, not directly connected with education, as I would say, though it's a part of the greater education, of course. But what I wanted to ask is, being an educator, normally routine educators do not venture in these directions. Maybe they will take up a Clean India movement, Clean Village movement, that is understandable. But what made you think in this way, going into the energy domain, the labor rooms? What motivated you?
I won't say these are all things which has come from my thought process. Everything comes where there is a vision, isn't it? There's a visionary ahead of me. That's my mother. She's the one who keeps thinking, what can I do? What can I make? How can I make a difference? So I just follow the path many a times. So see, when we talk about, now we are talking about SDG goals. What does it talk about? The 17 goals. It is not only talking about education. Education is one leg to it. Apart from that, water is there, sanitation is there, poverty alleviation is there, education is there, every aspect is there, conservation is there, sustainability is there, what not is there. So are these not being clubbed together in our NEP? So
Absolutely.
I feel that these are all part of, education. It cannot be looked as multiple angles. We cannot see. I think if we can educate all these things together and wrap together and say, this is education, where you understand nature, where you understand the people around, where you understand how to protect, how to safeguard the quality of women around, then we call it education. So as you asked me something different. This vision is, there is somebody who is taking things forward. I'm just following the path, I can say, or maybe taking inspiration from her and taking things forward.
I strongly believe that, educators have a very vital role to play to change the world, how it will look tomorrow. Educators play a crucial role in that. And, diversifying into different domains like energy, healthcare, and all the goals that you are talking about, I think that every school leader or every school teacher needs to be trained in this domain. What do you think about this?
Absolutely, it is very, very important, because we cannot shrink education to just books or to the curriculum or to the learning outcome what we talk about. We should be able to make students think so differently and into diverse fields. Only then we can see differentiation in our classroom. We all have failed in many years. Through many years, we are trying to bring out the similar kind of people out from our classrooms, just like our Parle G biscuits. Everybody, every parent wants the child to be like the other one. It is not possible. So if we can educate, first of all, the school leadership, the school leaders and principals and teachers on the role of, teaching all these and propagating this. We cannot make massive movements like, we cannot get into some kind of movements and agitations, but these are all movements in a subtle way. When we teach the child, it's a massive movement actually, not realizing that, it's impacting not just the child, it's impacting a family, because a child who is in our care up to the age of 18, he actually spends from 6 to 18 years, he spends 25,000 hours with the school or with the teacher. And you just see the power of the teacher. She has or he has a great power to transform the child. A good teacher can transform the child to an angel, and a teacher who has not given proper guidance to the child can transform the child to a devil. And you just see the power within the teacher. So I would say that we are the most powerful force, and we need to use the power in the right dimension to bring smiles. We speak about joyful learning. So if all this has to be brought in, definitely you have to teach them a lot more things than the textual learning. Leave them out to play and make them realize what nature is about. So many things can be done, and I think there has been a lot of positive moves also happening in the educational sector. After the rolling of the NEP, everybody started looking at it in a different way. And now the new generation parents also are giving a lot of freedom to the children as to how they want their kids to be, a little more freedom in their own imaginative ways. So there is a lot of difference happening, and I'm sure it's going to change to in the positive angle only. It's going to be looking much brighter and better in the days to come.
Absolutely. I think this angle that you spoke about regarding a teacher, that how the child is being mentored in these hours that he or she spends in a school, probably this is one single reason why a digital learning platform can never replace a real teacher. What do you think about that?
Digital learning platform can definitely give a lot of digital ideas to them, digital images to them, but it can never replicate a teacher. The way a small pat at the back to congratulate him can never be done in a digital platform. That has to be done by the teacher. A hug when he wins has to be done by the teacher. So a teacher can never be replaced by whatever modes. Definitely the role may increase or decrease according to the situation, but we teachers need to make sure that, you know, we are wanted by the students, mainly because it's the way we interact with them or the way we contribute to them primarily. So it is basically relevant on the contribution level of the teacher, that, you know, the acceptance level of teacher will you know, we need to reclaim it. Definitely this past 2 years they have started missing the school like anything. They would have thought that, you know, sitting at home, that, you know, I just want the schools to reopen. When we talk to kids, not just in Kerala alone, through our VSSF platform, we connect to students at the national level. So they're saying we are tired of you know, the online classes. We want to see our kids. That social level of interaction is very much missing in the school, in kids now. You know, how much can they interact with the parents? There is a limit to which they can interact with the parents. And, you know, it's the same thing what they see, the same classroom, the same laptop, the same surroundings. Whereas in a school, the ambience keeps changing every day. In the month of August, it will be tricolor. If it's in Kerala, it will look, you know, Onam, national festival everywhere. The same happens in North also. Every month the theme changes, which inspires the child. So where can they get all this in the house? It's not possible. So the role of teacher will never go. The role of teacher will become even more powerful in the days to come, provided we cater the right things to the learners.
Absolutely. Can we take a look at the, you know, a few more pictures that was shared? Let me just share the screen again. We have been through these pictures. Can you tell me something about the man, Dr. Madhavan Nair?
Oh, yes.
Associated with him? So share something about him.
Yeah. Dr. Madhavan Nair is a very known, renowned scientist. He was a former chairman of ISRO, and his association is, he's the chairman of the Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation, where, you know, we closely associate almost on a weekly basis over the phone, or, you know, or on Zoom nowadays. He is the one who actually gives us the courage to do things differently. He is actually a guide and a person who wants to do so much more than his domain. His domain is science. His domain is space science. More than that, he he wants to do so much more in value education. To that level, Dr. Madhavan Nair sir actually is contributing, and he has very, very strong idea about every aspect of learning, how we have to, you know, change the or transform the society through children. So he is one strong force behind us in the Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation to take all our activities forward. When we say activities, there are lots of activities. Recently, as part of Kalam Smriti, that's an annual memorial function we conduct in Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation. He's the one who actually mooted the concept. When we mooted the concept, he was the one said, yes, go ahead. You know, ideate should be the right name. And what we did was, you know, as I mentioned, we took the ideas from across the country, from students from across the country, ideated, and they started sharing a problem in their society, in their surroundings, because the region, problem of Nagaland is different from the one you see in Maharashtra. It's different from Kerala, it's different from Delhi. So kids started, you know, thinking, what are the challenges I have in my surroundings and what is the possible solution to that? So that way students started ideating, and these kind of thoughts, whenever we say something different, he say think futuristic. He's the one who tells us be futuristic, see what can where will it land up after, let's say, 10 years or 20 years, is it sustainable? So that is the power of Madhavan Nair sir, to think much ahead of the times. That's why, you know, it is everyone's dream. When we all were kids, we would have looked up at the moon and we all wanted to, what's the moon all about? It's a fancy, right?
True.
He's the one who made the dream of every Indian to go to moon through Chandrayaan 1 project.
So Dr. Madhavan Nair was the person behind Chandrayaan 1, right?
He's the man behind Chandrayaan 1, and he's the one behind the PSLV projects.
Right.
PSLV is India's, space workhorse. Every PSLV, I do not know how many PSLVs, but all the PSLVs has been a series of success. There has never been any failures in PSLVs till date. So he's the one behind it. So that is the kind of, thought process to think much ahead of the running times. That's what Dr. Madhavan Nair sir has taught us.
What is this picture? When was it
Oh
clicked?
yes, this
Other
picture,
people in the...
yes, this picture was actually part of one launch of the Vikram Sarabhai Science School, which happened in Cochin. And the other two great people, one is Dr. Yannick D. Escasta. He was a former chairman. Now he's a former president of the French Space Agency. And other person, of course, very, very eminent scientist again, Dr. Anil Kakodkar. He is the former chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission.
Standing next to you, right? Standing next to you is Dr. Akod. All right. And this is the one in blue shirt is Dr. Madhavan Nair.
Madhavan Nair, sir. And the other one is Dr. Yannick, and the other one is Dr. Indra Rajan. Yeah.
All right. Now, I wanted to know something about this, if you can share the way you shared it with me earlier.
That was a very, very simple talk. What do I share about this? Yes, of course, the person in the red shirt is Madhavan Nair, sir. You know him well.
Right.
The other one is a person whom you all know. We all studied about him, maybe in our school classes when we were writing what exams do we call it? Some talent examinations we all were exposed to when we were small kids, right? We learned the first Indian cosmonauts.
Right.
Rakesh Sharma, and that is Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, who is standing just next to me. And let me tell you, this was the first meeting with Rakesh Sharma sir, and I was very nervous, like, the first cosmonaut. Before that, I had an interaction with James F. Rayleigh. He is an astronaut. So I know, but he's a American astronaut. And first time I'm meeting someone who has gone to space, and, lots of questions in my mind. What do I ask, and how will it be? How would the interaction go? So, the meeting was scheduled at 11 o'clock, and I reached there. I had taken the help of Madhavan Nair sir also. Sir, you also please be there, because I believe they are very good friends also.
So this was in Kerala. The meeting
this was in Calicut, actually.
Calicut, okay.
There was a literary function where we all were part of, and Dr. Rakesh Sharma also had come there, and Madhavan Nair sir also had come there. I was also part of it. That's how we met. We were supposed to meet at 11 o'clock, and I reached as usual much ahead of time. Around 10:50, I reached the room, and I was just standing, looking out and standing, and suddenly Mr. Rakesh Sharma comes behind and says, "Hello, I am Mr. Sharma," and I'm like, I'm just looking up. Hello, I'm Mr. Sharma. And then I realized, okay, this is the Rakesh Sharma whom I have been waiting for, in a very humble way, generally. And he said, I don't think I'm late. It's 10:59 and we are supposed to meet at 11. It taught me two great things. One is, be on time. Second thing is, he did not have any attitude. He ornates a lot of positions. He can claim of that kind of adoration from everybody. Now, in a very humble and simple way, he came and he greeted, and then the kind of learning he shared was, I don't think I can share that in a platform like this. It would take many hours to share. That's the kind of learning he shared to us post that also. So basically, it is, if we can talk about Rakesh Sharma, it is his desire to become a pilot which has taken him to this level. Basically, when he was a small child, what Rakesh Sharma explained to us was, when he was a small child, he used to draw with charcoal the planes,
Mm-hmm.
and that is from where he started taking the inspiration and taking it forward. So just think how important is the kind of imagination and the liking what children need to have at the young age. Definitely, it's going to take it forward in the years to come. Probably that is where we can rightly understand what is the passion of every child, the innate passion. Definitely, you can, scale that up, or, scale it or deviate it. You can do anything. But you see how he has taken it forward.
So this is Rakesh Sharma. We all heard his voice when we were children, you know.
Yeah, Sare Jahan Se Acha,
Yeah, absolutely. That line,
Hindustan.
Sare Jahan Se Acha, Hindustan Hamara. And the first Indian astronaut. So it's a big learning and wonderful experience that you shared with us.
Yeah, and the image what we have is of this is the image what we have, no, and suddenly we do not relate. But
Absolutely. We
such
cannot
a
recognize
great
also
human being,
now.
such a great human being. Let me tell you, I think if our kids can get associated with, not necessarily everyone can get associated with people of
Mhm.
eminence, but try finding out people of eminence in your locality. So there are so many people in our homes itself. We have great people. We don't realize that, and it's basically the reflection what makes all of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, this particular picture with Ramesh Pokhriyalji, right?
Yeah,
In-
this is one of the interactions we had initially. I actually associate as part of as the general secretary of the Council of CBSE schools in Kerala.
Mhm.
It's a forum of CBSE school managements. So we
Right.
had some concerns which we took to him to discuss. So this is actually part of it.
Okay. What is this? Is it the Chandrayaan model?
This is not the Chandrayaan model. This is
Mhm.
this is not the Chandrayaan model. It's one of the models. Yeah,
All
this
right.
is there in our VSSF campus.
So this is your school or is it?
That's not my school. It is our VSSF campus, the foundation
Okay.
campus where we have these models at
All
this
right.
point. Yeah.
Okay. What about this one?
Yeah, this everyone knows with these two imposing image, everybody looks at right. This is when we were at Sriharikota,
Mhm.
India's space ports, where all the space dreams come to a reality. So that if I can put it that way, yeah. It is there when our VSSF interns had gone there for a session.
Mhm.
All these kids are not just from Kerala alone. Yeah, you can see two Maharashtrian boys are also there.
Right, right. Mhm.
Uh, Actually, we were like around 40 of us, 40
Mhm.
students who had gone there. And let me tell you one moment of pride what I had when I just felt so proud of being an Indian when I was there in this location. Actually, that launch pad is there, no, where all our uh, takeoffs happen, and that
Right.
our visit was soon after the launch of I think GSLV Mac 3.
Mhm.
We were there, and they were explaining to us every aspect of the launch, the takeoff, and suddenly uh, they were showing us the wear and tear which happens due to it, and gave a full detour of the minute points the children need to know about space and about launches. And let me tell you, all of them told me post that we are just going to get into space science, we are going to study astrophysics. So that way they got inspired post that interaction, the visit, which is probably they can call themselves as the most fortunate kids to have got an opportunity to go there and touch, feel, and see what exactly it is. It's actually a world beyond imagination. So when I was standing there, I just realized how great our country is. I just felt so proud of being an Indian, and felt so nice of the achievements our nation has made in space science. And
Wonderful.
it's such a great feeling. And we all stood there, and they are making a parallel launch pad also there. There are lots of uh, scientists working in the project, engineers working in the project. We all stood there, and my kids, we had three more coordinators, one from Rajasthan, one Ravi
Mhm.
Arora, then one from Jammu and Kashmir, and then one ma'am from Maharashtra also. They all stood and they initiated the national anthem. And the kind of feeling we all had at that point of time, it's beyond explanation actually. That's a very, very proud feeling, when we see such kind of installations. That's when we feel that, our children should go there, not just to visit or to see, to contribute back.
Absolutely.
Definitely, there are lots of challenges in the process, but
Mhm.
to give back, this is the best way to give back,
True.
to your to contribute to the nation. Yeah, such a great feeling. And I talk now also, I get that same feel.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that's one of the reasons we should, expose our children to platforms like these of tours and visits to special places where they will feel proud as an Indian. It doesn't happen with only referring to the pages of the book or showing people something or children something on the digital board. It requires a physical visit somewhere as well, right?
Very much, um, if we have learned something, it is from whatever we have seen, the little bit. Maybe we were not exposed to so much of infra
Hmm.
structure, or we all grew up in very limited resources as compared to the children. What they enjoy every facility, and the learning is right at their fingertips. You have to just Google and the immediate answers come. That was never with us. So learning actually opens new horizons to understanding. They understand in the real perspective. What a teacher can explain has limited role, what technology can showcase has limited role. The use of all the psychomotor domains also works well. See, touch, feel,
Absolutely.
realize actually makes a lot of difference. And even at family also makes a lot of difference. If parents are very positive towards all this, you can
Mhm.
see the face of our children also. In the face of our kids, you can really feel that very quickly.
True, true. What is this picture?
This is that same incident where we all were part of. And this is the, I forgot the name of this auditorium. This is the same auditorium where all the initial meetings, all the great meetings, all the meetings which happen after the success stories of all the uh,
Mhm.
launches happened. This is their auditorium, the one and only auditorium of the
There
Shah.
you go. Tab.
That's all. So basically, the role of teachers is tremendous in transforming the kids. At the same time, the role of mother, the role of parents also is very important. We cannot keep away the family from um, giving a positive insight to the learner. If you see the lives of great personalities, the influence of the mother is tremendous. Yes,
Absolutely.
they all would have got so inspired by the role played by mother. Take the autobiographies of anyone for that matter. It will all talk about the mother as a pillar of strength. So it's the case probably with you, and the same with me also. But how much the new the kids of the present generation take that seriously is to be looked into. So for that, as you mentioned, giving autobiographies for learning is very important. Probably we can start giving autobiographies from the third standard onward, small life stories of great people. They will take the important things and reflect upon it. Definitely, we do not know what inspires. If there are 30 people in a class, 30 of them would be inspired in 30 different angles. So inspiration comes from all angles. If I would like to share one incident, where Dr. Kalam mentions about the role of mother.
Mhm.
How he felt the power of mother. I believe it was during the time of the Second World War. That time there has been scarcity of food grains across the country, and so that would be all the more in a place like Rameshwaram, where Dr. Kalam grew up. uh, he was mentioning in his Wings of Fire the role, the day he felt how powerful and how dynamic his mother is. And that's when there was rationing of everything. Now our kids do not know what's the meaning of ration. When one is asked, they get 10. That's the way we have trained them. So
Mhm.
everything was in ration. And they used to get one chapati every night. So Kalam was very small, probably 10 years of age. So he used to ask his mother, I want one more. So in a very pleasant way, the mother used to give him one more chapati. This went on and on. And Dr. Kalam's brother was watching it every day. Every day Kalam used to ask for an extra chapati because, 10 years and all, the most hungry period of a child's growth process.
Mhm.
And one day, almost after 8 to 9 days, one of the days, his brother asked him, like, what you're doing to your mother. So Kalam did not understand. He said, you are the most disrespectful child. You do not have any love or regard for your mother. So little Kalam did not understand what his brother is talking about. So he asked, what did I do to the mother? So the brother mentioned that, every night the extra chapati what you're eating actually is of your mother. She goes to bed by drinking a glass of water post that. So when Dr. Kalam heard that, he was totally shattered. What have I been doing all this while? I have not been able to understand the reality my mother is going through. That night, he goes and after the mother goes off to sleep, he just falls onto her feet and starts crying, holding that. And from then on, till the time his mother passed away at the age of 94, Dr. Kalam has been, his mother has been the person for Dr. Kalam all through the life. So, that's a positive thing. That's a thing which has changed Dr. Kalam's perspective to seeing the sacrifice of the mother. There we see the sacrifice of the mother. Even today's mothers do the similar kind of sacrifice, not with a chapati, but in various other forms. And children need to look at it, understand that right perspective, and try to get the positive learning, the love, compassion mother and father portrays to them. So, the life of every legend actually should be taken into reference, as CBSE should look into giving small dose of it. Cannot give the full thing, but small, important, relevant things according, like how we give value education sessions.
Right, absolutely.
Small dose, taken up to the 12th grade will give them the right things, would accumulate and give the right kind of things.
And the right teacher can do it at their level as well, right? It doesn't require a CBSE approval or the principal's approval. Any teacher, a great teacher, will inspire the child with similar stories, like the one that you shared right now. So if stories like these are shared with the children, I feel like, there's a role of the school as well to make the child aware of the contributions of the parents. Maybe the parents cannot tell it directly that these are the contributions that I'm making towards you. But what I felt, I started a small program in one of the schools that I was working in, that it was a gratitude time. I shared with the parents that, once in 15 days, pose the simple question to the child that tell at least 2 things or 3 things that you're grateful for to your father or your mother, and your mother, both. So it's a small family time where the gratitude feeling comes up. And that is one of the ways a parent can get linked with the child in a proper way, when the child can really understand what the parent is doing for me.
Absolutely. That level of understanding and that level of bonding is very important. Family plays a very important role. We are actually out of the, schools, and teachers has got a lot of role. But, if a family is there to support the child in the way he thinks, in the way he grooms himself, itself changes tremendously. For that, families also need to understand that, the child can be brought up. It is not the sole responsibility of the school or a teacher to make a difference.
Right.
It's the initial responsibility of the parent to make a difference in the child. And the reflection, what happens through parental interaction, is tremendous. That is where we always advocate that have the right kind of family bonding, right kind of family time. There is something which I have learned in my house. My family is a strong believer of having food together when we are around. Not that everyone is around, most of the time everybody is traveling, but when everyone is around, they insist that he insists that we have to have food together. The kind of bonding and the kind of sharing which happens is very, very strong and powerful, and that actually takes a lasting impression in the mind of the learners also. We do not understand how much they learn through that experience, but the love, there will be lots of love, caring and sharing which they learn through all these things. So definitely parental role is very powerful here. Parents cannot hand over to the school and say, okay, you bring out the best thing from my child. Probably we can teach the best thing, but if we have to bring out the best out of a child, the hand holding of the parent is there. And if people are successful, there is a strong backup support from the family also.
And what I felt is, it's not that the parents do not want to do it, but what I've seen many times is, there are families who are aware of what exactly needs to be done, what is parenting all about. But there are so many families who do not really have any idea what parenting is all about. So I feel there is some sort of gap in telling them that what parenting is really about. Not too many organizations are doing it. there I felt, probably school is the only place where a parent is being told what a parent's job is.
Yeah, schools generally take parenting workshops and all that, but
Right.
every family is one-to-one different. Yes,
Right.
their societal interactions are different. Their cultural cultural background is different. What
Mhm.
happens within the family is also one-to-one different. So basically, we can give awareness. There is no harm about giving awareness. Every school is doing their bit, but
Mhm.
success comes when parents take it at the right spirits and they
Exactly.
take it forward. They
True.
need to realize and understand that if my child grows up to be a strong individual, he's a family tomorrow. He will never be a burden for somebody. That is what every parent needs to realize, and they have to demonstrate positive values. That sharing of positive values, if can be done at home, at school level, and
Mhm.
at an organizational setup, definitely no child will go astray, and they will start giving
Right.
value to what happens around. They will never be a burden. They will never torture anybody, or we hear a lot of untoward things, unpleasant things. So
Mhm.
that's all because somewhere they are unable to connect between the reality, the values, and the need. If they can bind all the three together, they will think 10 times before they indulge in any kind of untoward activities. That's what I
Coming to your, your life, I would like to ask you, how you relax. What are your favorite pastime, hobbies, or things like that?
do. I relax. I relax by working. That's a better way of putting it. I relax when I work.
Mhm.
Otherwise, what do I do? I read, not too much nowadays, but I read though. Otherwise, now, uh, do I have to share it here? I am into dancing now. I have learned before. Now I have again got back. Now in a track of getting into performance very soon. Back to that process. So whenever I'm
Dancing,
too
classical
stressed up,
dancing?
yes, a classical dancing,
Right.
Bharatanatyam, yeah,
Bharatnatyam,
classical,
okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
So in the process of performance very soon. And then
Wonderful.
what else do I do? Then I watch what my son and my family likes to watch in sports, starting from Grand Prix, racing, to everything, to Olympics, to, though I don't like too much of cricket. Uh, Sometimes I'm forced to watch that. When majority wants to watch that, I watch that also. Otherwise, I just to be an inspiration for my son, to be a part with my son in golfing. I have started golf also. Yeah, these
Mhm.
are some of the things, crazy things which I do, and keep myself around.
Wonderful, wonderful. One more question. We're almost towards the end of the program, but since you are, closely associated with the top scientists, you are doing a lot of science project yourself. What is, that one thing that you would recommend to the schools to develop an interest in science among the children? What is that one single thing that will really be a, magic wand?
For the children to, so if I have to say, one thing which can create interest in kids is hands-on learning. You give them, if you have to teach a concept, I can go on lecturing. Instead, I just show it to them. They will become so imaginative in that concept. You don't have to tell 10 things. You have to just show them that single thing. So bring back hands-on learning in classroom, or otherwise we call it experiential learning in our concept of pedagogy. Uh,
Mhm.
Bring a hands-on experiential learning, and bring it in such a way that diverse learners also get glued to it. Maybe I may be an auditory learner, or I may be kinesthetic learner. Bring back everything, get the same concept which is feasible for all of them. So get them involved, get them a part of the program, get them part of science, because science is such a wonderful concept. You can work so beautifully in science. You don't need to do anything. Science itself is doing. Right. So basically, get them involved, and that involvement can make a lot of difference in the way children learn science. So for that, activities has to be planned by schools. That can start at the very, very elementary level itself, from the very primary ages onwards. If we can start giving them hands-on, STEAM is one way, like, how we are integrating science, technology, engineering, art, and math. If you can integrate that together in our classrooms, it can work so much of wonders. We don't want only scientists. We do not want only scientists. There has to be a scientific approach in everything. So that scientific approach comes if we get them involved. They will also feel part and parcel of the activity. And that can bring a more structured way in their learning process also. They will like it more than, lecturing. So get them.
Right.
So that's what I feel can make a difference to the children. And let their imagination fly beyond that. Nowadays kids are so imaginative,
Mhm.
so much more than we have seen in the previous times. They're so imaginative
Right.
with technology and all that. Give them the opportunity, they will fly.
Do you love reading? There's someone in the group, in the chat of the program. He's a teacher from my school still, Mr. Nitin Bole. He's asking, the bookshelf behind you shows your love for books. How much love do you have for books?
I do
Books.
love it.
Yeah. What type of books you love reading?
I read everything. Nowadays, I'm into science to find out how science can be made interesting. If you
Mhm.
want to get inspired, there is one book, The Indomitable Spirits by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. That
Mhm.
book can make a lot of difference in the way you think you want to take the learning forward. Basically, among schools, there is a lot of positive reflections what he has given through various incidents Dr. Kalam has seen through. So indomitable spirit will definitely instill some indomitable spirit in all of us. So Nitin sir, I think you can uh, this can be a good kickstart for you to make a difference to your children in the classrooms.
Absolutely. Now, I think this is the last question that I'd like to ask you. It's already 8 p.m., but I just want to know what exactly are the milestones that you have in front of you now? What are your plans? Anything that you want to achieve in the next few years?
You're speaking like Dr. Maitli.
No, you have done a lot of projects and very wonderful projects you have taken up. Now, is there something that you really want to explore?
Yes. There is a dream project
Mhm.
which is like kind of in the pipeline. That's a science museum which is supposed to come up in our Vikram Sarabhai Science Foundation campus in Cochin. A science museum which where children can experience science. Now the way children experience science is very limited. They don't experience science. They only see some kind of laboratory activities happen. But science is so much beyond the lab activities of physics, chemistry, and biology. So a science museum is something which we collectively are in the plan of realizing. That's something which I definitely want to see into fruition. Then we are having the science school which is coming up. So that's also one project. And also I want to see all the kids blossom to the best. That's also a personal desire.
All right,
Science
wonderful.
museum, definitely. We want to, because Kerala do not have any science museum where children can walk in. Kind of, there is one in Calicut,
Mhm.
uh, which is just one aspect, space related only. We want in every aspect, because petroleum is there, mining is there, space science is there, earth science is there. So to give a taste of everything, that is what we want our science museum to cater to. Basically, that can create entrepreneurship and sustainability and innovation and what not
Mhm.
can come.
Any final message you would like to give to the students or the teachers or the parents?
uh, yeah, be true to yourself, just do what you're passionate about. And what I would like to tell the children is that there may be lots of challenges ahead of us. Visible challenges may not be there for all of you because you are fortunate kids. Visible challenges may not be there, but there may be lots of challenges when we start our activities. But just like how you are learning to handle success, please learn to handle failure also, because this comes as a companion. Wherever success is there, there are chances of failure also. So children, I would like to tell you, don't be too excited when you are successful, and don't be too disheartened when failure comes to you. Both are part and parcel of it. Learn to have a very balanced approach towards things. Now that your results are out, some of your results are going to be coming, you might have a lot of expectations in your mind. you know that's okay. You have a next chance if you're not happy with what has happened. At the same time, there may be things which do not happen the way you have structured. You all would have structured something for you. Probably it may not happen that way. So always have a plan B, plan C, plan D, and work with full conviction, and handle success and failure with the similar the same type of integrity, the same kind of love. You would never be disappointed, and always think how I can give respect back to all the people around. Show your gratitude to your school, to your teachers, to your parents, all the more, for opening all these vistas to you. Which don't look at yourself and say, no, I don't have this, I don't have that. Please look outside and say, I have so much. So show your gratitude towards all what has been bestowed to you. So that's all I would like to tell the children and the parents. And to parents, please understand the potential of your child, and give them enough time, hear them, and that can make a lot of difference to you. You will be more happy if you give some time. We all spend a lot of time in our professional thing, but somewhere we want to connect to our family. That actually gives a relax to all of us. You asked me what relaxes you. I can add this also. Family actually relaxes me quite a lot. My parents, my siblings, my spouse, my kids, it actually is a very positive relaxation. You can really be yourself. That's the only place where we can be ourselves. Everywhere else we are somebody else, right? But
Absolutely.
all of us need to understand the power of family. Then so parents and kids, understand the power. You both are the power in your family, and please proceed. There will be no stop to success. That's all I would like to share.
Thank you so much, Suchitra ma'am. It was wonderful talking to you. And it was indeed a heart-to-heart talk. I'm pretty sure that all the viewers have thoroughly enjoyed whatever she has spoken about, the experiences that she shared about Dr. Kalam, Dr. Madhavan Nair, the wonderful Rakesh Sharma. That was probably one of the incidents that I will remember for a long, long time. Every sentence of yours, we could feel the passion that you have behind education, taking up a project, and most importantly, seeing the end of it, finally implementing it. As you said, planting the trees is not important. Taking care of that is important. What you learned from APJ Abdul Kalam, sir. So I think there was a lot of learning from this particular session. And thank you so much.
It's such a wonderful session. I would say that, when you said heart to heart, I was like, all the while we are doing mind to mind, you're transferring your thoughts to somebody. When we are doing sessions also, we are transferring at the similar level. What do I talk heart to heart? I really do not know to talk heart to heart. This is what was in my mind. If I have done justice, thank God.
Absolutely. It was really a good, wonderful session. Lovely talking to you. So next week, again, we will have the same program at 7 p.m. with some other guest. So wait and watch out who the next guest is going to be. So thank you. Wonderful having you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.